Alright guys, here we are. We're back again. We're at our Intro to SolidWorks tutorial series. We're talking about making patterns. We just made this plate here using our linear pattern tool, and now I want to show you guys about how to use your circular pattern. So right now I have the display of this model set to shaded without edges. I'm just going to switch it back to shaded with edges, and we're going to be able to see those contour lines now, defining all of our rounds and everything. And I'm going to make a circular pattern on this plate just to show you guys an example of how easy it is to backtrack, because now we've got this made, and in some certain surfacing programs, Rhino, Alias, to take this thing apart or to backtrack at all would be a bit of a nightmare. So I'm just going to hit the F key because I want to fit this into my screen. And I'm going to do a right click and just drag up and to the right to spin me back to the standard perspective that I need to be in. Okay, so now that I'm there, I'm going to go back over here to my design tree, and I've got a record of everything that we did in our previous tutorial. I've got the fillets, which I'm going to delete. These are the edge fillets. Delete those. Then I've got the fillet that I added to this whole face. I'm going to delete that. Okay, now I've got the linear pattern that was a pattern of this lower pattern that goes straight up. I'm going to delete that one too. Okay, delete that. All right, now I've got this pattern here, which is the pattern of this original slot that we drew, so I'm going to delete that one. Okay, and then I've got this cut extrude, which is what cut the hole through this plate in the first place. I'm going to delete that too. Now, so I've deleted a lot of stuff. Back to kind of where we started. So now SolidWorks has deleted that cut extrude feature, but it's left behind the sketch that I used to create it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use that sketch again for this next little tutorial. Okay, so let's get right into it. I'm going to go ahead and just do a right click on that sketch, and I'm going to say edit sketch. I'm going to do a Control 8 to go normal 2. Okay, I'm going to grab that sketch. I'm going to show you guys a trick. Grab that sketch, and I'm going to click on the center of that sketch, and then I'm going to hold down the Control key, and I am going to control click the origin of my document, and I'm going to get this little icon box that shows up, and one of the options inside of here is make coincident. Now what that means, coincident means touching. So in order to make these two coincident, it's going to take both these 2 points and it's going to make them touch each other. So let's just do it. There we go, make coincident. And you see it takes that slot and pops it right over to the center. Okay, good. It also, if I zoom in here, it adds this little sketch relation. That is the coincident relation. That's the thing that's holding those 2 points together. That little icon there. So there we go. Now I want to actually use some of the axes that are on my origin, and so I want to move this sketch again. So I'm just going to delete that for now, and then I'm going to grab my slot here, and I'm gonna just pull it up just about like that. Okay, cool. Now is it on? Let's just make sure. Sorry, excuse me. There we go. I'm looking for that little dotted line that's showing me that I'm in line with my origin. Okay, so now I'm good there. Okay, simple enough. So I'm just going to now confirm that I like that move, and I am going to apply a extruded cut back to that sketch. As we can see, it seems to always fire off in the opposite direction for me, so I'll flip that, and then I'll hit the green checkbox to confirm, and I will have punched a hole now in the middle of my little plate here. Okay, good. So now I'm going to apply a circular pattern to this, and we're going to do a circle of these that goes all the way around like this, and we're going to use this axis here, this axis that's floating in the middle of space on our origin to revolve around. Okay, good. So let's go up here, and where it says linear pattern, the pattern tool that we just used, I'm going to just unfold that, and I'm going to go down to circular pattern right there. Once I go to circular pattern, I'm going to get my property manager that's going to pop up, and it's going to ask me for a similar set of details as linear pattern did. So first box is going to be, if I just hover over it here, it's going to ask me what direction or what axis do I want to revolve around. I just talked about it, so I remember that it's axis number 3. Okay, good. All right, so I get this little box here. It wouldn't move before, but this time it will. And in this one, it tells us our spacing, which in this case, because it's a circular pattern, is in degrees instead of actual fractional distances, and the number of instances that I'd like to repeat around a circle. So if I look over here in the property manager, I see the same bit of information. I want to do a circular pattern, a full circular pattern. It goes 360 degrees around in a circle. Maybe 15 is enough, I don't really know. But I'm just going to leave it at 15 for now. Same way I did with linear pattern. We're just going to kind of throw some figures in here, and we're just going to have fun with it and see what it does, and then adjust it later on. Now, features to pattern, here we go. We're going to click inside the features to pattern box to arm it, to show us that it's, or to show SolidWorks that we're about to enter something into it. And then we're just going to hover over our design tree until we get to the thing that we want to pattern, which in this case is the cut extrude number 2. So I'll just click on that once, and there you go. As usual, SolidWorks is so quick, it just fires that right off. And so it has created 15 instances in a 360 degree pattern revolving around the axis number 3, and that's what it looks like. So that looks pretty good. I think we could use a little bit more space in between each one of these. And so the way to do that is going to just be to change the amount of instances. So I'll drop it down to 14. Now see, with linear patterns, you're going to tell it a spacing, what's the distance between each instant. With circular pattern, you're just going to be able to adjust the number of instances. So I could drop it way down if I wanted more space in between each one, or you increase it to shorten the space in between each one. So for us right now, I think I'll just go with, let's go with something 15. Who knows? Let's go with that 13. I like to pick odd numbers for some reason. I'm going to have this box here equal spacing checked. If I uncheck it, you can see what SolidWorks does. It freaks out, and it doesn't know really what to do. It spaces them unequally. So, of course, we want to make it a pattern equally. And there you go. We're ready to just fire this off. I'm going to hit the green check box, and I'm going to just confirm that I like that right there. There we go. And I'll just I'll throw myself into perspective here. Click on this front face with a right click, and I'll look normal too. And then just for fun, I think what I'll do is I'll get an extruded cut. It's going to open up a sketch for me. I'm just going to grab the circle tool here, and I'm just going to draw out a circle, and let's just go ahead and cut this out. Now, I am going to go ahead and confirm I like that circle, and I am going to exit this sketch, go look into 3D here. My cut extrude always fires off in the opposite direction, so I will flip it, and there we go. Now let's take a look at what happens here. Green checkbox. Rebuild errors. The intended cut does not intersect the model. Please check the sketch and the direction. Okay, well, let's check that sketch and see. Uh-oh, it looks like, I drew that sketch on this surface. Well, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to draw it on a plane. So, I'm going to have to back it off. Well, I'll just flip the direction, as a matter of fact. Let me just flip the direction, and then we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. Well, look at that. It cut the whole thing out. Hey, so this is how SolidWorks works. You know, sometimes things go wrong, and you got to change them. So let's get back in there. Now, what I want to do, at Extruded Cut, cut everything that was inside of its extrusion. I'm going to go ahead and edit that feature now. I'm going to go here to Edit Feature, okay? And I'm going to look here. See this button here, Flip Side to Cut? Now what that does is it flips the thing that it cuts. So before we were cutting the inside of the circle, but now you see when I hit Flip Side to Cut, I get this little arrow here that's pointing outside. So now it's going to cut away everything else from our plate and just leave us this little puck with our circular pattern inside. Okay, so there we go. Boom. That's what I wanted to do. Okay, voila. Now let's see, I could get in there again. I could just look normal to this feature right here. Go here to my front plane this time. Create a sketch on my front plane. Let's just create a polygon this time. Why not? Just to be fun about stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and exit that sketch. I'll apply an extruded cut, flip the cut, green checkbox, and there we go. I've suddenly made that. Who knows? It could be a wheel or it could be a hubcap. You know, just trying to show you guys the ropes. We ran into quite a few problems on this tutorial. I'm not going to say it's my best tutorial, but it's good to see how sometimes you got to play around with stuff. And like I said, when I started up the tutorials for patterns, it can be tricky. Now, we've gone over quite a few things. Why don't you guys watch this one a couple more times and see if you could make something like this yourself. It shouldn't be too difficult to do. If you're feeling frisky, you can always go ahead and throw some rounds on stuff. That always seems to make me feel better. Okay, there we go. You guys have a good one, and in our next tutorial, maybe we'll get more into some of those issues we ran over with Extruded Cut and find out a little bit more about some of the things that can go wrong in SolidWorks, because that happens. Okay, see you.